So what I'm going to talk about now is track arrangement. Now, I have recently just changed the way I arrange tracks. I would say about 6 months ago. So for about 8-9 years, I've been doing the same process. So I was starting with a 16 bar loop. So I'd start with, I don't know, let's, for argument's sake, let's just look at this part here, so the drop. So this part here, that's 16 bars. So it's just like the verse part. So I'd make like the bulk of the track in 16 bars. Then what I would do is extend that 16 bars out into 32 bars. So I'd have this, the breakdown, 16 bars of breakdown, and then 16 bars of drop. And then from that 32 bars, you pretty much have the whole track, because you can just copy that across, delete the parts you don't want, at the intro and the outro, and put some extra parts in the middle with the fills and your automation and everything else, okay? So 32 bars was kind of my foundation. 16, 32, full arrangement. However, I found it to be quite time consuming. And I think I mentioned before that I'm not the fastest producer. So for anyone who's out there who does struggle with arrangement, there's a quick way of doing it. And I only started doing it pretty much, a couple of months after Christmas this year. So I'm going to show you how to do it now. So this is how I did it on this track. So as you can see at the top, this again comes back to organization and workflow. So you see I've got groups. I've got my kicks, my claps, my hats, all my top loops and hi-hat loops, my bass line, okay? Now everything after this, my risers, my crash, my snare, all the vocal stabs, all that stuff, I did afterwards, especially the fills. The fills are kind of like the fiddly bits you do at the end. So what I do on every track now, I'll do my main groups. So I'll do my kicks, my claps, my hats, my background loops, my top loops, my hi-hat loops, my bass lines, right? Once I've done that, I've got like 5 or 6 groups. I call them my foundation groups. So that's basically the skeleton of your track. That's your foundation, okay? What I'll then do, I will open those up so you can see them, okay? Mainly the hi-hats and the loops there, okay? So what I'll then do, that's actually missing out of there. That should be, where's that? That should be that there. In there. Don't know why that was missing. So you can see I've got all these clips here, okay? Now, I will do these, so I'll start the track in session mode, which I never used to do. And anyone who's had lessons off me will probably go, you're contradicting yourself, you said you never do that, you never go in clip mode. Yeah, I do now, all right? So, soz. So I'll start in clip mode and I'll do clips like this for all the foundation parts. Then what I'll do is I will hit record on there, and I will hit play. So I'll hit play, then record, or record and play, or whatever. And then what will happen is it'll start just recording in this side, like this, gradually across, depending on which clips you trigger. Now, actually, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can do this by just clicking your mouse. So let's just stop everything. So we start with, just trigger them in like this. Right? And the more clips you add, the more it records on this side, okay? So you're left with basically, you can see here, if I come up, if I minimize this, like this, and click that, you can see these groups. You see they're kind of blocked. Like I started with the kicks, some loops, some of the loops, not all of them. And then I pulled this one in at bar 17, etc, etc, and I played it in as I wanted the track to progress. So I only basically played in the first 5 groups. So just to reiterate, kicks, claps, hats, loops, and bass line. Now you can either do that with your mouse, as I said before, or this is a little APC Mini. So these clips correspond to these clips here. So if I open them up, like so, all these little clips, you can trigger them based on what's in those clips on the screen. So I think I might have used a combination of that, and the mouse. But I wanted to show you that because that's really useful. That was like 50, 60 quid or something, and it's really useful for getting some of your levels in when you're like playing live, you're doing a bit of automation. So you automate your volumes and all that stuff in with these faders. And if you want to trigger clips in at certain points, especially when you're recording like the arrangement in, these little controllers are great. I don't know whether that run was worth it, but I've got a sweat on now. Fantastic. Right, so basically, once I've recorded the foundation parts in, so those 5 big groups, yeah, forget about all at the bottom. That's what I'd have, okay? Then at that point, what I would do is then write all the other parts in by copy and paste, okay? But I found that if I arrange that by playing it in real time, I've got the foundation of the track down in however long the track is. So I think this track is like 7.5 minutes. So what would normally take me about an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours, it's now taking me 7.5 minutes. So just to reiterate that, arrangement-wise, I'll get my foundation parts in, right? Kick, claps, hats, all your drums, your top loops, your bass line. I'll then hit record, play these parts in by either your mouse or with a controller with the clips, and then write all these bottom bits in after, but with copy and paste and using your mouse. That's the track. That is basically, in a nutshell, how I arrange this track and how I've been arranging tracks for a good 5 or 6 months now. So, yeah, give that a go.